It has been an entire year since ChatGPT was released onto the world, freaking everybody out. And I've seen a lot of recruiters and employer branders and talent acquisition professionals struggle with how to use it well. I'm going to show you 5 ways right now how you can use ChatGPT to support or build or develop your employer brand. You know what? Let's not do 5. Let's throw in a bonus. Let's do number 6. Okay, so we'll do 6 ways. But first, I gotta tell you this. If you're using ChatGPT to write your job postings or career sites, stop that. That's not helping anybody. That is a great way of shooting yourself in the foot. It looks like a shortcut. It looks like a quick way of doing the grunt work you don't want to do. What it is a slippery slope to being boring and having no one pay attention to anything your company does. And that's not good. So, let's avoid that. So let's just cut that out. We're going to no job postings for ChatGPT, no using it to rewrite your career sites. It never sounds like a real human being. It just doesn't play. It just doesn't work. But here are 5, what would we say, 6 ways in which you can use ChatGPT to support your brand. So here's number 1. You use it to understand why people work there. Now, your employer brand is based on, among the 4 pillars as to what your brand is really about or where it comes from. The most important is, what do staff think it's like to work there? So what you should do is go talk to HR and go get or download a copy of your most recent employee experience survey. Get rid of anything quantitative, get rid of the numbers and the checkboxes and the scores. You don't want it. What you want is all the open text responses. Now, if HR is like, hey, we don't want you to see this stuff, that's fine. Have them sit on your computer, grab it and dump it into ChatGPT, and you say, name the 5 reasons people like to work here the most, and the 3 things they like least about working here, and let it roll. You don't have to know what the actual survey said. You just want the results, because what you're really trying to do is understand the core reasons why people like working there, so that you're not out in the world trying to build a brand that says we're innovative, but the reason why people work here is because it's incredibly supportive. That it doesn't jive, it doesn't align, and that's a great way to kind of have a real schizophrenic, broken employer brand. So use ChatGPT to understand what people are saying internally. 2, ask ChatGPT to look at your competition to infer why people choose to work there. Effectively, what's going to happen is the AI is going to read that competitor's career site. Maybe it looks at its Facebook, maybe it looks at LinkedIn, and it starts to figure out what are the claims being made, what are the things being said about why people should work there. This is a way to quantifiably say, these are the 5 reasons people want to work here, and these are the 5 reasons people want to work here. It allows you to do better and stronger apples to apples comparisons so that you understand, wow, if the entire market is talking about status, I better go talk about something else. I got to find a way to differentiate. I can't out-innovate OpenAI, so I better talk about something different. 3, use the same prompt you used in number 2 to look at your own company. Again, you very often know your company too well. You probably wrote half that stuff, and it's very hard to see the forest for the trees. It's very hard to, what's the line? To read the label from inside the pickle jar, right? This is a great way for you to say, what does it look like from the outside? Understand. And again, you're creating this apples to apples comparison. If you say, hey, what's it like to work at Facebook and Amazon and I don't care wherever, and you get that information, you say, okay, what does it look like it's like to work at my company? And suddenly you can understand where you're weak and where you're strong. 4, this is a 2-parter. I'm not cheating. I'm not trying to shoehorn in, but this is a prompt that has a follow-up prompt, okay? So the first prompt is, hey ChatGPT, and that's apparently you just talk to it like that. Hey ChatGPT, can you list the core messages on my career site? And let them list it. However many. Can we come up with 3? May come up with 7? I don't know. But let it list it. Then you say, on a scale of 1 to 10, rate the strength and clarity of each one of those messages. And it will literally look at that and say, oh, this is about a 7 out of 10. This is a 4 out of 10. This is an 8 out of 10. And it will tell you very quickly, of the 5 or 6 or 7 messages that you're putting out there, where are you strong and where are you weak? Where are some places that you should spend some time thinking about, how do I write that better? How do I make that more clear and more strong? Super, super helpful. 5. Now this is going to sound like I'm breaking the very first rule, and I'm not. You'll see. Ask ChatGPT to rewrite your career site for a particular job title. Hey, ChatGPT, rewrite my career site for a data scientist or a junior nurse or an experienced sales leader, or whatever. Pick the job title. Now, you're not actually going to use the content directly. You're not going to copy it and paste it. You're not going to make a bunch of different career sites just for different landing pages. You could, but that's not really what that's about. What this is about is understanding how to take the brand that you've built and pivot it and realign it to different audiences. In a lot of ways, this is a kind of activation or localization of your brand. How do I get it to appeal to a data scientist or a nurse? How do I get it to appeal to a experienced whatever, or to a junior person, right? Understand the language changes being made so that you can say, oh, that's interesting. These are subtle language changes, but you're right, they do read for a more technical audience or a more person-centric audience or a more junior audience. That is the stuff you're going to take when you go and rewrite job postings or outreach for particular audiences. You're tailoring the language to feel and sound like something the audience you want to reach would listen to. All right, so what's the bonus? Here's the bonus. This is hard. You are not going to be able to do this immediately. You can't use ChatGPT, in fact, to do this. But there's a very good chance that your company has invested in some sort of closed model LLM, large language model, right? Where it's effectively your ChatGPT. It's not the one that I use when I go to OpenAI, or it's not the one everybody uses. It is just in your company. What I would do, if you have that opportunity, is ask it to look at the last weeks of Slack postings and simply ask, based on the last week's information you've read, describe the culture and the day-to-day work experience at our company. And you take the answer and you share it with people who want to know it. This is a way, because really, this is the part where you can say you're innovative, you can say you're all about status, you can say you're whatever. This is a way of proving it, because this isn't just how well can you write it, it's about finding evidence that this is how you live. It's not the wallpaper, it's the DNA, right? If you say you're innovative, let's see it. Your Slack should be filled with all sorts of innovative thinking, conversations, complicated conversations, brainstorming. If it's not, you're not actually that innovative, right? It's a great way to validate the claims you're making. And because you're assessing all this information and analyzing this information and putting out a summary, none of it's proprietary. It's real. It's based on actual real conversation, but you don't have to worry about, the sort of thing that changes your stock price or gets you sued. You're not going to let that out. It's just going to summarize stuff. And to the candidate, to them, it feels like a peek behind the curtain in a way that's safe for everybody. They start to see, okay, this is what a machine says is going on here. You can kind of trust the machine to accurately and, simply analyze and summarize that information without applying any kind of bias or any kind of agenda, right? That's incredibly valuable. And if a candidate sees your Slacks without actually having to see your Slack, that's incredibly powerful. All right? So if you want more information about how ChatGPT can really support your employer brand, I put together a white paper. It's over on employerbrand.ing. That's right, it's employerbrand.ing, employerbranding, except with a dot in the middle of it. Take a look. I should highlight it. It's the actual prompts I use for some of these things and a couple other ideas I've thrown in there. So go check out employerbrand.ing to see the actual prompts I use in my regular work to understand companies and competitors' employer brands so that I can build the best employer brands I can. I think you'll find it incredibly useful, whether you're an employer brander or a talent acquisition professional.